What's up, y'all? I'm Ray, and this is my channel, Xbox Ready, where we talk everything going on in the world of Xbox. And in today's video, we're going to be discussing a new project that Xbox is working on that's sure to raise some eyebrows, how this game is going to change your Game Pass subscription forever, and what you can expect from Xbox's big summer showcase coming up in a couple of weeks. Now, back in February, before Phil Spencer, Sarah Bond, and Matt Booty hopped on the official Xbox podcast to give us that business update about their new multi-platform strategy, Sarah Bond reportedly told Xbox staff that their vision for the future was that every screen was going to be an Xbox. And it was apparently during that little town hall meeting where she said that, in order to help illustrate that point, really drive it home to those Microsoft employees that were part of that town hall meeting, they were allegedly shown Palworld being played across multiple devices, tablets, PCs, TVs. It was apparently so much that Microsoft employees allegedly were like, what is going on? Y'all are showing us a ton of Palworld stuff. They were making jokes about an Xbox handheld. And as the months have gone on, there's been a lot of questions on what exactly they meant when they said they're going to make every screen an Xbox. We know they're trying this pseudo multi-platform strategy with Sea of Thieves and other games. So is every screen being an Xbox referring to porting their games over to other consoles? Like if someone placed Pentiment on a Nintendo Switch, would Microsoft look at that and say, yeah, the screen of that Switch is an Xbox. Mission accomplished, baby. Are they referring to expanding Xbox cloud gaming? We know that thing has been in beta for forever. I don't know how, I don't know why. Back in February, when we initially saw this, that's where my head went. Oh, they're gonna boost cloud gaming so you can play more viably on your phone, on your tablet, on your shitty laptop. Could this also be referring to their mobile gaming storefront that we know that they're trying to launch? You never know what Xbox is gonna do, I guess. Unless your name is Jez Corden. Speaking on the Xbox 2 podcast, he said, I actually have some details on exactly what Xbox on every screen looks like now. And I think what it is that every Xbox game will have a consistent social UI across all games. So like if you're playing Sea of Thieves, for example, on the PlayStation, you will be able to bring up a mini Xbox guide or something like that, kind of like Battle.net. He even added that this new initiative is being referred to as Project Runway. This dude somehow, someway, always seems to have the scoop. This comes just a few days after he revealed that the project for the multi-platform shift going on at Xbox is named Project Latitude. And while this is just a rumor right now, and as much as I'm a fan of Jez Corden, there's been some times when he's been wrong. This is consistent with some things that we've been hearing on Xbox's end, specifically things that Phil Spencer has been saying over the past couple of months. When speaking about an Xbox handheld in the past, he's literally been like, yeah, I want to bring my Xbox experience with me, like be able to interact with my friends list and have like a dashboard with me on the go. Xbox also rolled out an update that would allow you to pretty much do just that whenever you're using cloud gaming on Microsoft Edge or Google Chrome. This could be yet another thing that ties into the Xbox handheld rumors. It's like, okay, if they're going to have a mini UI that's going to show up on PlayStation or Xbox games on other platforms, that's something that they can easily integrate into a handheld Xbox, or maybe even this next-gen beast that Sarah Bond keeps hyping up. Now, as far as people's general feelings about this go, I'm not entirely sure. There's only one singular comment on the Insider Gaming article that talks about this, and it just says, my god, how annoying. And yes, even though it's one random comment on one publication, I feel like that's consistent with how gamers usually feel when they have to deal with other platforms on a platform that they're not playing on, if that makes sense. It's a very convoluted way to say that. Kind of like with Helldivers 2, for example, when Sony came out and they were like, hey, if you want to play Helldivers 2, even if you're playing it on Steam, you're gonna need a PSN account. And the internet collectively was like, wait a minute, hold on, hell no am I doing that. They collectively freaked out, and actually, it was very similar to like the Sonic redesign situation where they effected some pretty decent change. Sony was like, okay, geez, we're not gonna do it. I have been cautioned against using the word everyone when referring to the gaming community, but I feel like a good amount of people don't want to have to deal with linking all sorts of extra accounts, especially if they don't own an Xbox or any product related to that. That type of stuff is single-handedly what stopped me from playing Multiverses. I booted up the game and they were like, sign up for a WB account. And I was like, no, see you later. I know PlayStation users already have to have some sort of Microsoft account in order to play Sea of Thieves on PS5. I don't think they'd be too happy about an Xbox social guide popping up for them whenever they have to play a game. This video is brought to you by Manscaped. Father's Day is just around the corner. I know, it sneaks up on me every single year. And if you're like me and you need a last minute gift that is also really thoughtful, may I recommend the Handyman from Manscaped. Giving this to my dad would be kind of like an inside joke because he is not a handyman at all. He pays other guys to do the work for him. But even though this won't give him the ability to change the oil on your car, it will give him the ability to look his best. This is a compact shaver from Manscaped that combines dual skin-safe technology with a foil blade and a long hair leveler blade. My dad's always bouncing around to different places. He owns multiple businesses, he's a black belt in Krav Maga, he's a grandpa now, so he's doing grandpa stuff. No matter where he's at or what he's doing, he can take this with him and give himself a little touch-up if he needs it. It's got up to 60 minutes of battery life and it's waterproof, so even if your dad wanted to go into the middle of the ocean and shave, he could totally do that. Another unfortunate thing about being a dad and getting older is that hair seems to spring up in just random crazy places, including your nose. If that's something that your dad struggles with, Manscaped's got him covered with the Weed Whacker 2.0. With a 7,000 RPM motor and a 360 rotary blade system, you can get rid of all of your dad's annoying nose hairs. And just like the Handyman, it is cordless and it's also waterproof. Manscaped has some other really awesome things that you can hook your dad up with this Father's Day, including the Lawnmower 5.0 and the Shears 3.0 nail set. Give your dad the tools that he needs, the tools that he deserves to feel and look his best. Go on over to manscaped.com and use my code XboxReady for 20% off of your purchase and free international shipping. Thanks again to Manscaped for sponsoring this video. Next up, let's talk about the title that's going to change your Game Pass subscription forever. This is something I already kind of talked about in a previous video, but I wanted to revisit it because today I woke up to a teaser from Treyarch's Call of Duty Black Ops 6. There's no gameplay to it. We don't really have any details on what this game is actually going to look like. The whole teaser is like found footage style. This teaser pretty much confirms that whatever redacted direct that's supposed to be taking place after the Xbox showcase in a couple of weeks is something Call of Duty related. When they first announced it, data miners pretty quickly figured it out, but this teaser pretty much confirms it because the logo that you see on this guy's backpack and on Mount Rushmore is the same in the image that they are using to promote redacted direct. Once again, there's been a bit of an update to this since I filmed this segment. Activision did go ahead and confirm the legitimacy of Black Ops 6, and Xbox went ahead and confirmed that the redacted direct is going to be centered around this new Black Ops game. The Call of Duty Twitter account posted this little teaser for it saying a dark new chapter of the Black Ops franchise begins. And while I see some people trying to dampen expectations, oh, these are just teasers, no gameplay, that's exactly what this redacted direct after the Xbox showcase is going to be. A deep dive, gameplay show-off kind of situation like they did last year with Starfield Direct. And even though we don't have any gameplay details about Black Ops 6, we can assume that it's going to be added to Game Pass day one whenever it comes out. There's been a lot of back and forth over whether or not that was going to happen. We were hearing reports that Microsoft wasn't really sure they wanted to do that for financial reasons. During all the FTC trial craziness when they were investigating the Activision Blizzard acquisition, we heard that Activision was not interested at all, or specifically Bobby Kotick, not interested at all in putting Call of Duty on a subscription gaming service because of the money that they lose out on sales. We also heard from Xbox, they admitted that a game being on Game Pass does kind of cannibalize sales for them a little bit. And considering Activision Blizzard is pretty much carrying Xbox in terms of revenue right now, I'm sure Microsoft wasn't super eager to mess with that. But on the other end, they've been hyping up since the start of this generation day one additions for Xbox first-party games, which is something that they recommitted to recently when Sarah Bond was like, yes, every game, every Xbox first-party title is coming. It's going to be added day one on Game Pass. You can count on that. And considering that Call of Duty is consistently one of the most popular, most played franchises year in, year out, its presence in the Game Pass library as a franchise is going to affect major changes for better and for worse. In one end, I could see a world where Black Ops 6, if it's added to Game Pass day one, would lead to a massive increase in Game Pass signups. On the other end, Microsoft, we know, is all about their money. And you better believe that they want a return on that $70 billion investment. So if they lose out on sales, and they also know that Call of Duty being added to Game Pass will lead to a bunch of signups, a lot of people are speculating that they're going to go ahead and raise the price in order to take advantage of that and make up for any lost sales. We've been hearing rumors that they were thinking about a new tier for Game Pass or restructuring it in some way. And I personally really hope that they just add an extra tier that includes that Activision Blizzard stuff, rather than just do a blanket increase of all Game Pass tiers. Listen, I get it. Call of Duty is a big deal. I'm sure there are a lot of people that are going to be drawn to Game Pass simply due to those games being on there. I would also venture to say that there are a bunch of Game Pass subscribers out there that don't care about Call of Duty at all. And if you're not planning on using your subscription to play Call of Duty, why should you be hit with a price increase? I think ultimately it's going to come down to like an Xbox versus a Microsoft battle. Microsoft, I'm entirely sure 100% that they want to raise the prices just because. Where I'm sure that people who actually work in the gaming division are like, no, let's try to figure something else out. No matter what happens with this new Call of Duty, whether it's added to Game Pass, whether it's not, I'm sure we're going to hear more about it in a couple of weeks at the Xbox Bethesda Showcase. And while we're talking about the showcase, let's talk about some other stuff that we can expect. Let's get the obvious stuff out of the way first. We are due for updates for titles that are supposed to be releasing later this year. Games like Avowed, games like Indiana Jones, both of which don't have release dates, so that number one, we need that. And I wouldn't be surprised if we got updated game trailers for them as well. We already got an extended look at Avowed, so we're definitely due for one with Indiana Jones. Then there are the games that we should be getting updates about, but we're probably not. That includes Rare's Everwild, which was teased forever ago, and we still haven't heard anything about it. Nothing significant anyway. The problem with Everwild is I don't know how much of a priority it is for Xbox to get this game out, especially with Sea of Thieves continuing to be popular. Like, I don't know the allocation of staff that's working on Sea of Thieves versus the one that's supposed to be shipping Everwild. And while I can't confirm this, there has been people talking about that the development of Everwild is quote-unquote troubled, that there's key staff leaving and they've run into all sorts of issues. I doubt we see anything about the Perfect Dark remake, especially because there's been so much shakeup over at the Initiative. Contraband would also probably fall into this category. Apparently, the dev cycle for this game has also been pretty fraught with trouble as well, and key directorial staff has left the project. We don't know too much about this game, but from what I've seen from the trailer, it seems very similar in vibe to like Indiana Jones, so I think we'll be good on Contraband, waiting for it for a while. The Bethesda side is a little bit of a question mark. There was a huge leak as part of that FTC craziness that we were talking about earlier in the video that detailed a bunch of upcoming Bethesda releases, including an Oblivion remaster, Doom Year Zero. No one really knows what Doom Year Zero is supposed to be, but I mean, I guess Year Zero implies a prequel. They usually take showcase opportunities to show off, hey, here's some new stuff going on with Fallout 76 or Elder Scrolls Online. We know that they've shifted to priority games over at Bethesda, and that's the whole reason behind the closures for Arcane Austin and Tango Gameworks. So even if they don't have anything concrete to show regarding some of the bigger titles that Bethesda works on, like Fallout 5 or Elder Scrolls 6, another teaser for either of those projects would be really cool. Moving on to the rumors, we already sort of covered the Call of Duty stuff. There's been rumors that Gear 6 is going to be shown off at this showcase and that the graphical quality we're not ready for. It's apparently going to blow our minds. It's going to make us crap our pants. We know that the Coalition's been putting in work in Unreal Engine 5, like they're pretty much experts at it. So Gear 6 potentially could be a game that has the visual quality, the graphical quality of a game like Hellblade 2, but have the ability to take a frickin' Lancer and saw some locusts in half. Those games are pretty damn scary already. I can't imagine what it's going to look like when the graphics are more real. I'd say we're also due for updates on Clockwork Revolution, South of Midnight, and Fable. Now, out of those three, I definitely say that we'd get a release window for Fable at least. Now, with Compulsion Games and South of Midnight, I don't know what we're going to see from them, but we are due for some sort of update. Microsoft bought them back in 2018, and we haven't heard a peep from them. They're like, yeah, we did We Happy Few. That was pretty cool, right? I would personally love to see an update regarding the new Age of Mythology game or Age of Mythology Retold. And if they don't end up showing Hollow Knight Silksong at Summer Games Fest, it could be a really cool opportunity to show off another trailer at the Xbox Showcase. At last year's showcase, they showed off the Black Series X. This time around, they could very much come out and be like, yo, that digital Series X that we've been seeing pictures about, that you heard about in those leaks all the way back at the end of 2023, here it is, surprise. Or not so much of a surprise, I guess. Also at last year's showcase, after the show proper, we had press and content creators in this little room where Xbox leadership, Phil Spencer, Matt Booty, Sarah Bond, talk more about like the future of Xbox and like what was currently going on with them numbers-wise. I don't know if they're gonna do that again, but I would definitely expect some sort of update involving their multi-platform strategy, involving Game Pass, if it's being restructured at all with Call of Duty. Pretty much everybody except Sarah Bond has been pretty quiet ever since they shut down Tango Gameworks and Arcane Austin, and I would be pretty surprised if the showcase came and went and that streak continued. And potentially alongside that digital Series X, they could reveal that new controller Sebille that we saw in those Xbox leaks back in the fall. Honestly, that's what I want to see. I want that new controller. I don't want the digital Series X. Anyways, guys, that's all the Xbox stuff I have to talk about today. Thanks so much for joining me for another edition of Xbox Ready. If you made it this far into the video, consider subscribing. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.